Improve it. Improve it.
Podcast. My beautiful Improve It peeps. Welcome to the show. I'm Erin Deal. I am your host. I'm also the podcast host of the Improve It podcast, but I am also the founder of the improv-infused talent development company, Improve It. And we are here for the new generation of work to inspire you to be the highest version of yourself through play. That's right. So I'm so excited that you press play on this show. If you press play, I know who you are, my beautiful peep. You are a person who leads a team, a community, a home. You care deeply, not only about the environment around you, but the greater collective of this world and the people in it. And I'm so excited that you found yourself here, whether you are an OG Improve It peep or it's your first time on this show. Welcome, welcome. You are in for a treat today. So I just want to ask you, are you ready to spark joy in your leadership journey while mastering goal setting strategies that truly work? If the answer is yes, get ready, buckle up, because today we are diving into the power of intentional leadership, how small shifts in your mindset can lead to massive breakthroughs for you and your team. Now, whether you're striving to inspire, you're striving to prioritize, or you simply just want to lead with purpose, this episode is packed with actionable, tangible tips designed to help you level up. So, let's get into this episode. I want to start off with an awesome question from one of you Improve It peeps. Just know you can always submit a question to the show you just need to check the link in our show notes. And it's a little link to something called SpeakPipe. All you do is press play from your phone, ask the question, hit send, and it'll come directly to my inbox. So if you have a question for the show, please send it in. We love to hear from you. Let's hear from an Improve It peep now.
Hi, Erin. This is Tom. I love the tangible tips on the show. My question is, how can I consistently be positive and stay intentional when leading a team during high-pressure situations? I've got a team on a tight deadline and is stressing everyone out. How can I keep the team positive and culture feeling good when we are all stressed?
Oh, Tom, thank you for that cue. We've got some A's, but before I dive in, let me just ask you, my beautiful peep, can you relate? Can you relate to Tom? As a leader, we have to lead through the good, the bad, and the high stress situations. I have my own leadership journey, obviously, and I lead a team here at Improve It. And one of the situations that really sticks out in my mind that is comparable to Tom's question is during our book launch. So if you don't know, I launched a book in February of 2024 called I See You, a leader's guide to almost forgot my own book title, Energizing Your Team Through Radical Empathy. It was an Amazon bestseller. It was something I felt divinely guided to write. So when we launched this book in February of 2024, it was such a joyful time because we were celebrating the work that it took to get the book out into the world. But it was also a super stressful time because me, as the author, I'm on for weeks on end. I think I had an 8-week streak of just straight up podcast after podcast, guest spotting on podcasts, doing TV segments, traveling all over, doing book talks. And when I'm on, my team is on. They have to package all of the marketing. They have to help get everything ready on the back end. So it was a lot back to back to back. So when your team is in it with you and you feel like you have an obligation to not only let the people that you're serving down, but them down, there's a lot of pressure. And in this hustle and bustle of my book launch, my team and I decided to carve out specific time to set intentions for the launch of this book. We went to a beautiful spot here in my hometown of Charleston, South Carolina. That's where we had the book launch party on February 20th. And we created this beautiful 5-step framework that help us set goals with intention and with joy. And that, my friends, is what I'm going to teach you here today. Spoiler alert, this framework works. I will share that with you as we go, but get ready to dive in because I want to give you these tangibles straight up right now. Here we go. Step 1, you got to know the why behind the intention or the why behind your intentional leadership. So you want to set the stage, not only for yourself, but for your team. Now, I just want to start off with a blanket definition of intentional leadership. To me, this means acting with purpose and clarity rather than reactive impulsively to specific circumstances. So who would you rather be led by? Calm Kathy or chaotic Chad? All right. Think about those two people. They're completely different leaders. I have been both at times in my own leadership journey. And I have a study from Gallup to prove this point even further because this study shows that 70% of employee engagement is directly tied to the quality of their manager. Intentional leadership drives engagement and it reduces turnover. And I know this to be true. I am sure all of you right now, close your eyes. If you're driving, don't. I'm sure you can think of a leader in your life who led with intention. Close your eyes right now and think of that person. And they generally bring a smile to your face. They generally feel joyful in your body when that person comes to mind. And open your eyes. That person spent a lot of time and intention thinking about how they showed up, not only for themselves, but for you. Do you want to be led by that leader? Do you want to be the leader you want to be led by? I want you to think about that and marinate on that as we go through today. As you know, and I know, we're always, as leaders, juggling competing priorities and demands, and that can lead to decision fatigue and burnout. But with intentional leadership, we can help prevent it. So during this extremely chaotic time, during my book launch, when things were just week after week, event after event after event, Nicole on my team, who is our marketing manager here at Improve It, said, hey, you know what I think will be really dope if we carve out some time to set some intentions for the book. And I was like, yes, and, which is a huge tenet of improv comedy around here. I said, Nicole, let's do it. And I put 2 hours of intention setting on our calendar the morning of the book launch. And it just so happened that my team was here in Charleston with me. We were doing a book launch party that evening. And so we had 2 hours of intention setting on the calendar. Now, I am sure Jenna on our team was like, what? Actually, I'm not sure. I know for a fact, Jenna was like, 2 hours of intention setting. Like, what? But Nicole and I were like, we're doing it. It's happening. So we grabbed a notebook. We headed down to this really beautiful spot near my home. And I actually am very blessed. I don't live on the ocean, but I live near the ocean. So we sat near the ocean and it was February. So in Charleston, it's like 50 degrees. And we sat there with our pen and paper and we thought about the why of this book. That was the first thing we did. We thought of the why. And the why behind the book and the why behind Improve It are really the same thing. We want to help people. We want to create a space to help the greater collective in a positive way. And when we sat down and really thought about the why that this book was needed and why it was needed now, everything just started to really make sense. And it made all of those small actions that we had to do every day, those tasks that were time consuming, those flights that I had to take that were hours on end, it made all those small actions have purpose and meaning and not seem like such a frivolous task. So I want to ask you to reflect on a time when you led intentionally and the impact it had versus a time that you led reactively. What did that feel like? What did that leading with intention do? Not only for you, but for your team and the people around you. How did that impact your organization? And then think about that time that you led reactively. I have so many of those. So just so you know, like, you are not alone if you're thinking, oh God, this is like my worst nightmare to think about. No, you are not alone, and I am with you, and you are seen. Okay. We've all done it. But what I'm asking you to do now is to really reflect on the why behind intention. And when you're setting a very specific intention, really get specific on why is this needed and why is it needed now. So now we move to step 2, and that is all about sparking joy. You're going to find fulfillment in your leadership. You're going to find fulfillment in the goals that you're setting. Joy at work starts with you, my friend. It starts at the top because leaders set the emotional tone for their teams. If you've ever come to work extremely stressed and frazzled, guess who picks up on that energy and gets extremely frazzled and stressed? Your team. If you show up with energy and then a high vibe, it's contagious. I promise you, my friend. I got some research, if you don't believe me, to even back it up, because research highlights that employees who feel joy at work are 20% more productive and exhibit 40% higher emotional resilience. And that, my friend, is not from me. It's from the Harvard Business Review. Okay? 20% more productive right there. If that doesn't make you want to spark joy, I don't know what does. So let me give you some ways that you can spark joy with yourself and with your team. I talk about this all the time on the show, but it's just so simple. You can celebrate the small wins. You can regularly recognize the progress, not just the outcomes, like the smallest win. I'm talking about you got a response from a prospect and they are going to set up a meeting with you in 2 months. When I'm talking about, okay, you got a response from a podcast that you wanted to be on and they said no, but hey, guess what? It was Mel Robbins and she responded to you. When the smallest wins are celebrated every day on purpose. Another way to spark joy is to use radical empathy to create psychological safety. Now, I wrote an entire book about this. Literally, ICU is all about radical empathy and how to not only give more to yourself so you can give more outwardly, but it gives you steps and tips and tricks on how to do that. So, and note, coming up in 2025, we're going to do a whole month all about radical empathy. But if you need a quick tip and trick, my friend, I want you to get the book, I See You, and go to the midsection. Part 2 is literally all about leading with empathy. But the short version of this is don't just put on somebody else's shoes and think about them while you're in them. I want you to put on their Nike Dunks, walk around, get a blister, take them off and say, hey, I see how you felt and I have the blister to prove it. Here's where we're going to go from here. Now, here's another way to spark joy. You can infuse creativity into your routines. So if you have a monthly or a weekly cadence of a meeting with your team, something very simple. Put some memes and some Giphies in that agenda. Jenna on our team does this all the time, and it is so joyful to see, and we change them up with the seasons and the holidays. So that's a really fun way just to, in the middle of a meeting, spark joy. Or you could start off the week on your Slack channel on Monday morning by saying, hey, everybody post their favorite picture from the weekend. And if you don't have a picture, just tell us your favorite thing you did. Or you could reach out to us at Improve It for a laugh break. We love doing these. These are short form improv sets for your team over Zoom. Or you could do a walk and talk instead of a Zoom meeting with your team. Hey, everyone, we're going to do this next meeting over the phone on Zoom. Take your videos off. I want you outside and walking. Think about ways to spark joy every single day on purpose. So how we did this with the book launch was we changed this meeting. First of all, it's a new meeting. So this is like already creative and different. But instead of doing the meeting inside my house where everybody was sort of congregating or at a coffee shop, we went to this beautiful location by the ocean. And I mean, literally, we've never done that. And that just in itself was just glorious. It was beautiful. It was sunny. You could hear the waves crashing. We sat right by the water, and just sitting in that spot alone makes you feel alive, right? So changing the environment is super easy way to spark creativity. So with smiles on our faces, we created intention behind the book. And what was interesting about this, because we were in nature, as we finished setting the goals and going through the framework that I'm giving you, a ladybug landed on Nicole's lap. And we gave her a name, which I'll tell you about in just a few minutes, based off our discussion. And we knew that we were in the perfect place at the perfect time, and that this ladybug was the luck and the wink from the universe that we needed to let us know we were on the right path. That is something we talk about all the time. That just 2 hours of intention setting, of putting that on the calendar, going to a creative space, being in nature, having a ladybug, which, as everyone knows, means good luck, land on Nicole's lap just as we were finished, is something that we will never forget, ever. So, knowing that you're finding ways to spark joy and finding fulfillment in your leadership is a huge part of your success. I'm going to give you step 3 because this one is the most important. This is the art of goal setting. You're moving from your vision to action. And you are going to create a SMART goal. Now, SMART is legit like the most famous way to set goals. It's an acronym. It means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And I want to give you some data behind why SMART goals work. Now, according to a study from the Dominican University of California, goals that are specific and measurable have a 42% higher success rate. 42%. That's almost half. Half of a percentage higher, people. The importance of aligning your team and your personal goals with the values of your organization, the values of what your home, whatever that thing is that you lead, is so important. You're going to break it down, and you're going to create goals that are specific, that are measurable, that are achievable, that are relevant, and that are time-bound. You're going to go back and you're going to reflect on the why. That's step 1 behind the goal. You're going to prioritize and rank your goals by impact and urgency. You're going to create a timeline to execute them. You're going to execute them and put them into a time management software like Asana. We love Asana around here. And then you're going to review and you're going to adjust your goals based on your progress and feedback. So, in this example of our book launch, we created a SMART goal. It was specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And our specific goal, was that we wanted the book in the hands of 10,000 people, including, here's the kicker, Gabby Bernstein, a huge spiritual thought leader and author, and Oprah Winfrey, she needs no introduction. And we could measure this goal by our sales from our book ourselves, selling them at conferences and events, as well as from the sales of our publisher who has them in major retail locations. And I want to just say that we know that in terms of achievability, 10,000 is a lot of books for a first-time author, but we knew we could do it. The relevance, the R. The book is so relevant to our brand and our purpose. And we knew that we wanted all of this to take place in 2024. So when this ladybug landed on our lap at the end of setting this SMART goal for the intentionality behind the book, we named the ladybug Oprah Gabby 2024. And we actually use it as a hashtag anytime we talk about the goals of the book, Oprah Gabby 2024. To know that we wanted all of this achievable and this specific, measurable, achievable, and relevant and time-bound goal to take place in the year 2024. So this leads me to step 4, because now that you know how to set the goal and move from vision to action and put things into place, I want you to think about what might a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goal be for yourself or for your team. Because guess what? Even the smartest of SMART goals have challenges, which leads me to step 4. How to overcome these challenges with, guess what? Intention. So let me just say this. There are so many different types of leadership hurdles out there. Burnout is a huge one. And I will say that according to a study, I'm giving you all kinds of data today from McKinsey, 60% of leaders report feeling drained by their responsibilities. 60%. And that study came out in 2023, so not too long ago. In the same study, we saw resistance to change. 50% of team members are hesitant to adopt new processes without clear benefits. So change is hard for over half of our workforce. And I will say this study also showed one of the other common leadership hurdles being conflict. 85% of employees experience workplace conflict. And it also said that intentional communication, and intentional being the key operative word there, intentional communication can resolve 90% of these issues. So, how can you stay intentional even through challenges when your goal is going awry? You can bring mindfulness into the picture. You can use meditation or breathing exercises to stay present. I do this every single day because challenges come up as a leader of a business every day. There's not a day where you don't have to think critically about anything specific to your business, but especially when it comes to the big SMART goals. So I use a Pomodoro timer. And if you're not familiar with that, oh my gosh, it's so easy. Google Pomodoro timer, and you'll see it will pop up on Google. It's a timer that goes for 25 minutes. So you sit for 25 minutes and you focus, and then you get a 5-minute break. And you do this same cadence, 25-5, 25-5, 4 times, and then you get a 30-minute break. So essentially, you're working for 2 hours with 20 minutes of break time, and then you get a 30-minute break. And I have to tell you, I get more done with this method than any other method I've ever tried. And in those 5 minutes, I'm doing things like breathing exercises. I'm walking. I am changing my environment, and I'm being mindful of where I'm at. That's one way to stay intentional. You can also, in terms of checking in with challenges with your team, set regular check-ins to understand your team needs, have a regular meeting cadence, schedule one-offs when needed, because challenges are going to come up. And when you tackle them head on with intention and you yourself are in that calm space, you are leading with clarity and purpose versus reaction, you can solve so many more problems. You can be the leader you want to be led by. You can be that leader that you thought about earlier, who was your leader, who led with intention and purpose and made things feel calm in the chaos. Going back to the book launch, what's funny is that we literally encourage intentionality at all costs here at Improve It. And so that intention setting for the book launch should not have come to a shock to any of us, because every month we set an intention for the beginning of that month for a one-word intention on how we want to feel. And how we want to feel is honestly one of my most greatest measurements of success. So we have a workshop coming up that we are going to spill all the tea on how we set intentions every month and how you can do this intentionally for yourself and for your team, how you can create a daily intention practice with my ideal day methodology. And this is going to be on January 16th. So you're hearing the show beginning of January 2025. This is going to be January 16th, 2025. And we're going to walk you through this framework. It's a virtual workshop, so anyone all over the world can attend. It's from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Grab the link in the show notes to get your tickets. And I'm going to give you a special promo code for 20% off. Use the code IMPROVEITPEEPS for 20% off. And I will literally guide you through our exact method for setting intentions then. So know that you can overcome these challenges with mindfulness, with feedback loops, with setting up a monthly and daily intentional practice. And I would love to teach that to you on January 16th. Now, I want you to think about a challenge that you currently have as a leader. And it's a reoccurring challenge. This thing keeps presenting yourself. And I want you to ask yourself, how might practicing intentional leadership change the outcome? Think about it. And if you're like, girl, this sounds amazing, get your booty in a seat on January 16th to this intention setting workshop. It's 1 hour. I promise you, so valuable, and it will set you up for the rest of the year. So this is the fifth step. After you've identified and overcome your challenges intentionally, I'm going to ask you to give yourself a 30-day leadership challenge. I want you to commit to one of these intentional leadership practices for the next 30 days. So maybe you start your meetings with gratitude or creativity in some way, or you set a SMART goal at the beginning of the week, the beginning of the month, beginning of the quarter, whatever cadence feels right for you. Or you spend 10 minutes daily just reflecting on the wins and the lessons learned. So small habits will compound into significant improvements in not only your morale, but the morale of your team, the morale of your association, whoever you might lead. It's going to give you significant improvements in productivity, significant improvements in engagement. It just all around, these small steps are going to lead to giant impact, my friend. So this is what we did at Improve It. We decided to take small steps towards our SMART goal. I will tell you, we were very close to hitting the number of books sold. And I want to just tell you, this story from the book launch came full circle. On that morning where we sat and we decided to get the book in the hands of 10,000 people and to get the book to Gabby Bernstein and Oprah Winfrey, and we all wanted to do this in 2024, we sent a giant message to the universe. So here's how this came full circle. I found out that Gabby Bernstein was going to be in Charleston for a local event promoting one of her new books. It's called Self-Help. And I signed up. I found it on a whim. Like when I tell you this event just like popped up in my text message, it literally did. A friend sent me another event. It was on a website called Talk. And then I started scrolling through Talk, and then I saw this event for Gabby Bernstein. And I had gone through some really traumatic things that month when I saw the event. So, and I will share that with you this year. I feel like I was sort of like teaching from an open wound, and now that wound is sort of healed. So I will share that. But I was going through a really big event in my life in October of 2024. And October is when I saw this event for Gabby. And so I asked my husband to go with me, and I got my parents to watch my son, and it was a Friday night. We made a little date night, and we get to the event, and I said, here's my intention with this. My intention this entire year has been to get my book in the hands of Gabby. Now, backstory. I actually have followed Gabby for years. I meditate to her meditations almost daily. I used her bestseller masterclass to give me the framework to write my book. And I submitted my book to her team and said, hey, I was a bestseller masterclass student. It was an Amazon bestseller. Can you get this to Gabby? So know that as I tell you this story. That's the backstory. So John and I get to the event, and there's like 40 chairs. It's outside. It's kind of a chilly night. And we're like, oh, we didn't have any clue what this was going to be like. So we decided not to sit in the front row. We got there early. We were like 2 people out of like 10 who were there early. And then we sit in the second row because we don't want to be like those thirsty people in the front row. And she comes out and more people filled up the seats. And now it's like a packed house of like 50 people. And she does a really intimate talk about manifesting of all things, right? And throughout the talk, she gave an open section for Q&A. And I happened to ask a question to Gabby. Her and I went through a very similar event in our lives. And her answer to this question just made me feel so seen by this online mentor that I've followed for years. I cried in front of an audience of 50 people and like a massive amounts of like, there were some reality TV people there. Like it was like this whole crowd of people that were just, I was so grateful to be in that room, but like, what am I doing? Just crying in front of this group of strangers. And so I felt very seen and happy that not only did I get to meet Gabby, but she heard me, saw me, and really just gave me this beautiful space to feel emotions and to sort of heal in that moment. All of that to say, I brought the book with me because you better believe I was making this intention of giving the book to Gabby happen in 2024. So I wrote this beautiful note to her in the beginning of the book, and I literally watched her get whisked away by her team at the end of the talk. And I run after her and I see one of her team members who I've seen on Instagram. And I said, hey, I am one of her bestseller masterclass students, and this is my book. And she goes, okay, hold on. Gabby. Gabby turns around. She's about to walk away and just be gone forever. Looks at me, looks at my book after we've had this beautiful, intimate conversation in front of a crowd of 50 strangers and says, oh my God, that's you? It's you? I have this book. It's in my office. That's you? Because Gabby had posted a picture of me holding the book on her Instagram. I do know it's part of her like Facebook ads for her masterclass campaign. And she just gave me this huge embrace, hugged me for like 2 minutes. I told her in that moment how much her work has meant to me and how much it's changed my life. And all I wanted was for her to have a copy of the book that proves that the work that she is doing in this world is good, because it is through her work that I healed myself and was able to even write it. She took pictures with me holding the book. It was her idea. I left that night knowing that intention setting and manifesting works. Not only did writing in that notebook in 2024 at the ocean in Charleston with a ladybug popping on Nicole's leg send a signal out there. We set smart, tangible goals. We had tried to get it in her hands before. It didn't work like the way I wanted it to. And then the universe responded with we're going to make this happen for you, sister, because you have the intention, you have the why, you have a smart goal set for yourself. You turned your idea into action. And guess what? This entire goal, this entire intention is filled with joy. You're just spreading joy. So if that isn't proof to you that this framework works and that intention setting works, I don't know what is. And shout out to Gabby Bernstein, because, sometimes in life, when you meet those mentors that you follow online and you've never met in real life, it can be disappointing. Shout out to her for being the most beautiful, calm, gracious soul. And I'm going to tell you straight up, like, she is setting the tone for not only herself or her team. She is living a life filled with purpose and clarity. She just exudes calm and peace and clarity. And she has to be that way in order to do the work that she is doing. And she is very intentional about that work and who she surrounds herself with. And I just shout out to her for being this amazing human in real life. It was unbelievable. And so John and I, my husband and I, went out to dinner after. We were just flipping out. And I was like, she said, oh my God, it's you. And just, we kept repeating it. And I was so glad he was with me in that moment. And he actually hasn't really experienced her. He knows I've, do her meditations and listen to her books, but it was a really eye-opening experience for him too, to hear her speak and to hear some of the things that I live and breathe every single day from somebody else. And I'm just really grateful for her and her team. Now, don't think that I haven't forgotten about the Oprah piece in Oprah Gabby 2024. That part is still happening. So here's the deal. There's challenges, right? This is a challenge. I have tried every which way and sideways to get the book in the hands of Oprah. So if you're listening and you know Oprah, please send it to her and make the dreams come true. But truly, this intention setting practice is so not only tangible, not only joy fulfilling, but it works. So we've got proof in the pudding there. This all full circle to say, Tom, I hope this helps with your question. We've got our framework here. Let me recap them one more time. You're going to know the why behind your intention. You're going to find fulfillment and find creativity and ways to find opportunities to spark joy and bring joy into your day-to-day life. You're going to create a SMART goal, which is you're going to make sure it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. You're going to have challenges. So make sure you are creating mindfulness practices that allow you to stay in that place of calm and clarity. And don't forget, if you want that practice, come to our workshop on January 16th, 2025, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And you can get that link in the show notes. And then you are going to challenge yourself to put this into practice for the next 30 days. Now, I just want to make sure you had those steps. I want you to know you can get the book. I see you at the link in the show notes. If you haven't yet read it, I would highly recommend it, especially if you loved this content. And I also want to make sure you get the link to the intention setting workshop on January 16th. You can use the code IMPROVEITPEEPS for 20% off. Anybody can come. The world's your oyster. It's virtual. Come. We want to see you live and in person. All that to say, my peeps, I'm so proud of you for showing up here today. You should be so proud of yourself for investing time in you. The people in your life are going to be so grateful. And you know what I'm going to say? Keep failing, keep improving, because this world needs that very special it that only you can bring. I'll see you next time.
Improve it.
Podcast.